Welcome to the Friendly Frequencies podcast. I am your host, Carmen McLeod, and I want to talk to you about all things spirituality and personal development, because these are the things that light up my soul and have completely changed my life and made me into the person that I am. I want to bring you along my journey through self-discovery as I travel the world and expand my consciousness. So if you're interested in topics such as the mind, the soul, and the universe, and you want to continue to evolve into your soul's purpose and become the best version of you, then you are in the right place. Thank you for being here. Hello everyone. I am officially home. Not officially. Okay, officially home, but not for very long. I just arrived a couple days ago from the Women's Weekend. So what I'm going to talk about today is what I got from the Women's Weekend. And if you didn't hear my last episode, then you're going to be a little bit confused about what the hell I'm doing home. I was not planning to come home at this time. I was planning to stay out traveling until about, beginning of January in the new year. I came home now temporarily, for a few reasons that I'll get into next episode. But one of the reasons I can give you, which is that I wanted to go to the Women's Weekend, which was in Oakland, California, so not so far from here. I went there over the last weekend. I'll explain a little bit about what the course is, or what the seminar, I don't even know what to call it, is. But yeah, anyways, I'm home for a month, and I'm going to get a few mural jobs while I'm here, make some money quickly, and then head on back to Southeast Asia. Going to the Philippines next. I'm going to spend about 3 months there, so I still have my original plan for the Philippines. By the way, I'm filming this on a brand new microphone. If you didn't notice, my voice sounds wonderful compared to all of the last episodes I've filmed. So yeah, I'm moving up in the world. I am officially a podcaster now that I'm able to, I have this mic. I'm going to bring it around the world with me. It even is double-sided. So when I meet people who I want to interview, I can just make it double-sided and boom, there you go. So that's really exciting. Anyways, where was I? I'm going to the Philippines, and going to spend probably about 3 months there, depending how long they let me stay. Because I don't know, the visa situation, I don't even know how long they'll let me stay until I get there. So it's kind of like a visa on arrival kind of thing. And I've never done one of these before, so I'm not sure how it goes. But anyways, I have 3 places that I have lined up to stay out there. And have some mural jobs booked. So that's going to be more like how it was in Cambodia is going to be kind of like how it is going to be in the Philippines. At least, like, I don't know how the experience is going to be. Obviously, it's going to be different. But, I mean, the way I did Cambodia was I lived with local people. I painted murals for them. It was more like really chill, meditative, and that was actually my favorite experience overall, like my favorite country experience because of the way I did it. It wasn't as touristic, and it wasn't like a lot of action and partying, and it was definitely my kind of thing. And so that's what I'll be doing in the Philippines as well. So I will, keep you posted on that. But for now, I am home. And this is my first podcast filmed in Canada. Woo! It's exciting. So I think I will. Okay, wait. And sorry, not finished giving you a little overview of my future plans. So I'm not sure how much I updated you on last time. I did update you a bit on the new kind of plan. So I think I might have already mentioned that, yes, Philippines 3 months, and then New Zealand for like maybe 6 months or so, kind of undecided, but I'm thinking of coming back home in May. So that's the new plan. So let's talk about the Women's Weekend. So this is a huge deal for me and my family right now because I'm the last person in my family to do this weekend. So it's called the Sterling Institute of Relationship, and they do these women's weekends and men's weekends. Everyone in my family has done either the women's weekend or the men's weekend, and I'm the last person. And because you have to be a certain age to do these, it was always 23 was always the age, so I was never old enough. But they changed the age to 21. So I, I decided to go, and I'm so glad I did. It's just so transformational, and I mean, even for me, so my parents both did this course when they were much younger. Like my mom did it when she was 18. This has been going on for I think he's been doing it for 40 years now. He's getting older now. He started it when he was much younger, and he's just been going strong and changing like hundreds and hundreds of thousands, I don't know, of people's lives through this. Um, Justin Sterling, I'm talking about. So he's the one that runs this course. So I'll give okay, and I'll also just mention now, I cannot mention, I can't say everything. I can't talk about everything because there's a lot of confidentiality in the course. Like after you do the course, there's a lot of things you can't say or talk about with people who are not Sterling graduates, especially like because you don't want to, I don't know, you don't want to have anybody have any preconceived ideas of it before they go into the course. So I'm going to be like on people's ass trying to get them to go to this course because I know how life-changing it is, but I know that I can't give so much information because then people kind of go into it with an idea of what they're going to get out of it, and it's really, you don't know what you're going to get out of it. It's really different for everybody. So all I can talk about, I made sure of this very clearly before making a podcast because that's quite public. What I really can and can't say. And what I can say is what I got out of it. So I'll talk about what, I can't even talk about what my entire experience was, but I'll say as much as I can. I'll just say what I got from it for the most part. But yeah, I mean, my parents raised me with with what they learned at this weekend for both of them. They've raised me based on a lot of this knowledge, and it really like ingrained in them, and it shaped who they are as people. And it was so interesting to be at this weekend and hear from this man who taught a lot to my parents, and now I see so much of their parenting style, and I see so much about their relationship, and it all makes so much sense to me now, like seeing just looking back at my life and my upbringing, like why my parents made the decisions the way they did, and why why my relationship was with them the way it was. Like it makes so much sense to me now. So it's really interesting. But anyways, the Sterling Institute of Relationship, it's I should have I'm gonna pause for a second and grab you the purpose statement for these. Okay. So the purpose of the Sterling Institute of Relationship is to transform the quality of people's relationships by defining the differences between men and women so that they know themselves, become closer to each other, and have a natural and loving relationship that will produce the partnership and context necessary for the transition to a true global community. So that's the purpose statement for the whole kind of institute as a whole. But I'll read you the or actually I can already remember the basically the purpose of the Women's Weekend, which because I've heard this so many times throughout my life. But I remember like the purpose of the Women's Weekend essentially is to oh my gosh, no, I'm just gonna read it out because I can't even get it out right now. And the purpose of the Sterling Women's Weekend is to engage in the process of locating the source of your power and discovering and dissolving the barriers between you and manifesting that power in your relationships and in the world. So there's the purpose statements, and just to give you an idea of like what this is kind of about. And it's okay. It is so hard to put this stuff into words, but now that I've actually done it, I mean, I still find it quite hard, and But basically, I'd say the reason, actually, I know for a fact, the reason my parents are not divorced is because of this course. This course gives relationship skills to everyone. And I was thinking it's not actually just about, and it's not just about being in just about relationships with your partner. It's more like relationships with everybody. So my mom uses the skills that she learned at her women's weekend. She uses them at her, at work and with people. She's used them. I mean, she's a chef and she works with a lot of in the industry where she's had to use this a lot in her profession, actually. And everywhere in your life, really. Especially with raising kids as well. Just any relationship that you can think of. It's just amazing the things that you learn at this, and also just learning about yourself. So a huge part of this is tapping into the source of your power. So I'm not even going to get too much further into that because I need to keep this just solely based on my experience. I can't tell you too much about the weekend. All I can say is that I want everyone in my life to do the men's weekend or women's weekend. And that's all I can say. but I can tell you what I got from it, and then you can, if anyone wants more information about it, feel free to let me know. I'll also put a link to, I mean, I'm not sponsored by this institute at all. I'm so passionate about this. I've been it's been in my family for generations. I'm the third generation to go to this weekend and to practice this stuff. So it's huge in my family. It's completely shaped the way my family operates, and I have such a healthy relationship with my family, and we all have one with each other. And I think I can honestly attribute most of this, like a lot of this, to the Sterling Institute. So I'm just a really good example of, I'm a good what's it called, example of what, a product of this course. And my whole family is a great testament. That's the word. We're all great testaments to this course. So but I will put a link down there just so that you guys can do your own, you could look into the website and just get a better idea of it in case you have any more questions about it. But I would also be happy to talk one-on-one with anybody who's considering going to the course. I don't know when the next one is, but I think that they may be taking names for it. But anyways, I'm just going to get into some of my experience. Well, I guess I can't talk so much about my experience, but I can talk about now what I'm feeling about it, and I'll say as much as I can say. So, I think one major thing, like I said, I just got a really deep understanding of my parents while I was in the course. I'm like, oh, wow, yes, okay, now this all makes sense. And I just had such a deep appreciation for them, and the fact that when they did this weekend, they continued to practice the skills they learned consistently. So what they say is that when the weekend ends, that's actually when the weekend begins. So at the end of the weekend, it's like, okay, now the rest of your life is the women's weekend, because you need to practice these things in order to, it's a discipline. To be successful in your relationships is a discipline, because you need to constantly do the work. So anyways, my parents both have done the work to keep their relationship strong and to keep their relationship with us strong. And, after the weekend is over, my parents both have these classes that they join, and like they're called classes, but they're kind of like basically just meeting up with other graduates who are, so a lot of them are like friends of theirs from like for decades. But, and just to keep putting the material in practice and to, keep reviewing. And my parents have both put so much, just so much into keeping this alive for them. Otherwise, if you just kind of let it fizzle away, it's just like any other thing. You can read a book or go to a seminar. You can learn the things that are life-changing and give you all these aha moments and like, wow, okay, I'm a different person now. But if it's quite easy to, fall back into your old ways. So I really admire my parents for constantly being so dedicated to this stuff. And it's really shown for our family. It's really clear that, you know, the success of our family has benefited so much from this. So yeah, I mean, it does mention in the purpose statement the differences between men and women. Uh, this is something my parents taught me a lot growing up, but it was a lot different hearing it from Justin Sterling because you know it's he puts it in a different way, and it was very interesting. I learned a lot in a lot more in depth, and you would be, you know, very surprised at how much this affects the relationships in a good way. Like when you know the differences between men and women, you're able to work with, like, you just make you're able to make the relationship work because when you're aware of these things. See, when you get into the, you know, thinking that men and women are more the same than they are different, and then you start kind of treating each other like, you know, when women treat men like they're also women, that's when problems come up. And when men treat women like they're the way they treat men, that's, you know, also when problems can come up. And so anyways, I learned a lot about this. Can't talk so much about what I learned there, but just briefly, that's what I got a lot out of that. You know, I learned how to use my emotions as a tool and not let my emotions use my emotions to my advantage as a woman. So people think that women, you know, are emotional and that their emotions are not a good thing, but really it's the source of our power. Like, it's one of the ways that we touch into the source of our power. And so as women, if we are able to be aware of our emotions when they're coming up and how we can use them to our advantage rather than letting them kind of control our lives and make decisions based on emotion and let the emotion get in the way of things in our relationships and other things, that's really powerful when we can acknowledge that they're just like ego. You know, you can use it in a way that can benefit you, or you can let it take over, you know. So I wish I could get into more details, honestly. I know I'm being quite vague with a lot of this. I can get into details about some things. So another thing is that we do, before you start the weekend, everybody, like each person, will come with 3 goals. So you kind of think ahead of time about what goals do you want out of life, anything that you want right now. And so I can talk to you about my goals. They shifted a lot while I was writing, or while I've been, I don't know, planning out for all of this. It's been quite the process, but I'll tell you what I landed on. So one major thing is, okay, so goal number 1, it was to tap into my true power and harness it as I start my traveling career as a public speaker, artist, podcaster, etc. Because I need to, as much as I feel really, I feel like I'm at the top of my game right now and I'm loving it and life is great and I got all of the, you know, I feel really tapped into my power right now. But I know that it can get better. It can get a lot better. And I know that there are things I need to work on. I'm seeing, you know, as I've mentioned in a few episodes, I am seeing things in myself that I need improvement on. And I just wanted to keep tapping into my power even further and further because I have huge goals for myself, as I've mentioned. I want to do public speaking in the future. I want to do TED Talks. I want to take this podcast to the freaking moon, and while continuing to, you know, paint murals, pretty murals all over the world, and all of this fun stuff, traveling to every country, all of this. This is, you know, the goals that I have, these huge goals that I have are going to be difficult, and I need to really tap into my power if I'm going to pull this off. So I need to hunker down, and you know, right now I've been living in a bit of a fairyland, like traveling and not worrying so much about everything. And yes, I've been making the podcast and I've been dedicated to it. However, I could go harder with it. I could put more into it. I know that, yeah, there's a lot more that I could do, and I need to, like, the way that I'm going right now is not going to cut it for the goals that I have. It's great for right now, but I think that especially as I, move along and time goes by a little bit where I'm, even while I continue traveling, I need to hunker down. And anyways, I just wanted to go into this week. I wanted to tap into more of that power, whatever it was. Like, I had no really expectation of what that would feel like, I guess. But I just wanted to, I feel like also I need to understand myself and really like get to the core of, anything unresolved that I have going on. If there is anything that I really need to work on in myself, I need to be at my top game. I need to be my most powerful self, the most powerful woman that I could be. Because if I'm going to be trying to inspire other people, and I may get into, I don't know, maybe life coaching or dharma coaching or things like this in the future, if I'm going to try and, especially, and yeah, with public speaking, like, I'm in the personal development community at this point, and if I'm going to try and help other people, I need to make sure that I'm at the most powerful place that I can be. And by powerful, not in a way of like, when you have power over people, not in that way, but powerful, like, I am grounded in who I am. I'm living my most authentic self, the most authentic life I can live. I'm I'm being generous. I'm doing the best I can, and just living life. So you get the point. Just being the best person I can possibly be, and the most, just powerful woman, making shit happen for myself and around me and for the people around me. And I'm here with a mission and I'm going for it. So this is kind of what I mean. And I feel tapped into my power after this weekend. I already felt like I was before, but now I feel so clear about what I want out of life and out of my relationships. And it's a perfect time for me to be doing this course for so many reasons. And I know exactly what is best for me right now in this next transitional stage of my life, because I'm transitioning again. It seems like, there's been so many transitions and pivotal moments of like new chapters and clean slates where I can kind of reinvent myself if I want. And as I'm home right now, I'm reconnecting with some people, and I'm I'm just here. I've only been here like 2 days, so I'm not like, I'm still a little disoriented trying to wrap my head around the fact that I'm home right now. But as I go back, it's a new beginning. So what do I want to, am I going to go back, and I'm going to go back, and what is it that I want to create for myself going forward? Do I want to take this to the next level? Well, hell yeah, I do. I do want to take this to the next level. So yeah, and especially as I go to New Zealand, like, I want to start making money again, and I'm going to be there for quite a while. So I actually want to really get things, going there. Anyway, so I'm kind of rambling about this, but okay, so that's goal number 1, and I definitely got it. Also, when all the other people, so there's 150 women at this event, and I definitely didn't ask all 150 of them, but I think I've asked like 4 or 5 of them, have they got their goals after the weekend was over, and all of them got all their goals completed. Some of them are like work in progress goals, but they know that they learned the skills that they need to accomplish that goal. So that's kind of how I feel about that as well, some of the things. But it's amazing, like, these goals, you just go in with them and you come out with them completed. It's just amazing. So excuse me. So Another goal I had was to have clarity on what I want my future family to be and like whether I want kids or not. Now, this one is, I think, a work in progress because I still didn't come to like a, you know, complete decision. And also, I feel like this goal was completed because I realized that it didn't actually need to be a goal to begin with. So, as I was in, as throughout the weekend, I did learn a lot about parenthood and children, and I was paying close attention. And now I'm really thankful that if I decide to have kids, I am going to be well prepared and I'm going to be a kick-ass mom. However, I still don't know if that's exactly what I want. I've always been kind of 50-50 on this. The reason that I wanted to find out, and yes, I know I'm super young, so there's no need for me to even think about kids for like another 10 years, but I just wanted to be a little more clear because when you go into relationships and, like when you have a relationship with someone and like they are, they want kids and you don't know, it's like, okay, well, that's a huge deal, right? It's kind of a non-negotiable thing in a relationship, right? If I was to decide that I didn't, then that's very clear that relationship can't work out. And it's like, kind of non-negotiable because it's such a huge thing in people's lives. So anyways, that's why I went in with that goal. But what I came out with was that I think I have so much growing to do in my life that I couldn't possibly make that decision right now. For some people it is really important from a young age, like from everyone. Some people know that they want kids from a young age, like they just know that about themselves. But for others, it takes time to figure out if that's right for you. And so I think I just kind of decided that I'm going to let it go. And right now, what I'm focused on is just traveling the world and doing my own thing and being my own person and not worrying about the future so much. So I feel like I got closure on that goal. And even though I didn't come to an answer on it, I realized that I didn't actually need to even ask it in the first place because I just don't need to worry about it right now. I know that clarity will come to me. I'm so able to trust my intuition very well. So I know that when the time is right, I will be able to trust my intuition on that decision as well. So I feel like that's also coming from me being tapped into my power right now. And in general, I think I'll always be kind of tapped into this power. So anyway, so that was another goal. Another goal that I had was experiencing the divine feminine and to release any blocks that I have around connecting with women. So I've always been one to gravitate towards men in friendships. I've always gotten along better with men and women. I have some amazing girlfriends, but it's taken my whole life to accumulate a few of them. And I find that when it comes to men, I'm much easy. I can basically I mentioned this in the last episode. Okay, so I don't have to go through all of this again. But okay, so I mentioned in the last episode how I basically only made male friends in Vietnam. And an observation that I'll just give you a quick overview in case you didn't listen to the last episode, but I had this observation of myself. It was really cool that I noticed that I think that maybe the reason that I like to be around men and not women is because I like to have attention and that the attention is on me. And then I was thinking that this kind of links with maybe this is the reason I don't like kids, because I don't like kids. Like that's one of the reasons I'm like wondering if I even want them is because I don't like them. I've never have. But I was thinking that maybe the reason for that is because kids get more attention than me. And as a kid, when there was younger kids or babies, they would get more attention than me. So I was kind of linking these all together. Like maybe the common theme here is that I like to be the one that gets the most attention. And if somebody's getting more attention than me, it bothers me. It must stem from childhood or something. So anyways, that's just a recap because it does play into something I'm going to talk about in a minute. But so releasing any blocks that I have around connecting with women. I I feel so connected with women after this weekend. It was it was amazing. The energy in there was out of this world, and I have experienced that before because I have gone to these. I call them hippie retreats, but they're technically we call them they're called the summer solstice, which is on the summer solstice on the beginning of summer. We haven't done them since COVID, but it's a bunch of women, all ages, get together for a weekend of hippie activities. And I don't mean doing acid and smoking weed. I mean, there's no drugs or alcohol at these things, um, but like a lot of it's just a bunch of women getting together and doing all of the spiritual and lots of spiritual ceremonies and things. Like we do lots of meditation, being in nature, just it's been so long. I'm trying to think of some of the exercises. A lot of indigenous practices would come into these because when we would have, there would be indigenous women who could take us through a lot of their ceremonies, and we even had like a teepee at one of the locations that we've done it at. And I've also went in the States is when the first one that I went to, and we had like a sweat lodge, and it's very spiritual, very just amazing. Anyway, so I've been tapped into this feminine energy before, and it's amazing. Out of like it's unexplainable, honestly. So I experienced that this weekend, and I haven't been able to really live life much after the weekend. Like I think this is something that I'll notice about myself and see how things have shifted once I start traveling again. Definitely, because this is where I noticed the most when I was traveling solo. I noticed how much I would gravitate towards men and not women. And so I'm curious to see how that's going to shift after this weekend. But something that I really noticed was that I think I came to a realization that it may not even be the attention thing that I like about it, that I think it's about being special or being different. So this came to me at some point in the weekend where I was like, maybe the reason that I don't like being around women as much is because I feel like I'm not special anymore. Like I'm not different, even though of course all women are different. I feel more special when I'm in a group of men, and I always just felt like I could connect with them better. But the reason I was wondering about this is because, where did this come from? So I don't know where this came from for around that thought, but at some point my cousin mentioned, do you think that because this woman was kind of had triggered me a little bit, or not triggered me, but just like kind of annoyed me, and it was interesting that I was telling her about it. So yeah, this is another. I'm kind of mishing my stories a little unorganized right now. My apologies, but this is another story I wanted to get into anyways. So my mom always says before going to the weekend, she was, says, look into your triggers. That's where you need to grow. So wherever you get like triggered by somebody, or, if something like bothers you, it's going to happen a lot, then look into that and see why is that bothering you, because it's clearly usually it's something that's going on within you that you need to work on. So this woman kind of bothered me, I guess, about I was just talking with her, and I found that it seemed that and I don't know if this was the case, but just from my perception, it seemed like she felt like she knew more than others because she was very spiritual. And it seemed like, and I don't know if I got that vibe, and it was bothering me. And then I was talking to my cousin later in the evening, because my cousin came to the weekend with me. My cousin and another friend of mine, we were talking, and I was telling them about this kind of like, oh yeah, I had this kind of weird little trigger, and I'm like, and I'm like, I think that, I saw myself a lot in this woman throughout the weekend, and it was great because we're both very spiritual. And then when I was annoyed with this tendency of hers to or just the way that it seemed like she always just had the answer to everything and was able to kind of just have the answer to everyone's problems because she was spiritual and other people weren't. And then when I was talking about it, I was starting to realize that I do this. Like, I think that I'm somehow better or I know more than, I don't think I'm necessarily better, but I do, like, it's like I do think of myself as like, I know more, I know better, I want to help other people. Like, I mean, it's part of the reason I have the podcast. I mean, it sounds bad, but it's like, it's like I want to help inspire people, but just to like also teach and give the word of all this spiritual stuff that I've been learning because it's done so much for me. But part of that, the negative side of that, is that I do feel like sometimes that's like, oh, I know better. I have that I know better attitude, which is not true. I don't know better than anybody. We all have different perceptions of the world, and different things work for different people, and what I do is no better or worse than what the next person does. But so it's something that I am working on. But anyways, I noticed this in somebody else and it bothered me. And then I was like, oh, okay, let's look inward. Oh yeah, okay, yeah, I'm bothered because I do that myself. So I'm noticing something about someone else that I don't even like about myself. So that was the most exciting realization for me. I was so excited to be bothered by this moment in time, like by this woman, because I was so excited that I had, like, it seemed like a really cool breakthrough, so it's now something to look into, and I'll definitely keep updated as I have more realizations around this area. But so now I'm going to bring this all together. I know I've been rambling, but to bring this back to the, getting along with men thing. So after I told my cousin about this, she was like, so do you think that you got annoyed by this woman because she was very similar to you and she made you feel like you're not special or like you're not different from others? And I was like, oh, interesting you say that, because I was just thinking about how that might be the reason that I like men and more than women, like being friends with men over women, because I feel special. So this clearly is a theme that I'm noticing and that you're pointing out to me as well. So there must be something here. So this was a cool realization that I had. This is a really cool trigger / realization about that seems to be linking with a lot of things. So this one trigger linked with, my feelings towards men and women and my feelings towards children and, my upbringing is like, it all links together with this. I think the attention thing still might be there, but also this also need to feel special and different. And also I think that the reason that I might have that need to be special or different is because because my parents have always been that way too, and especially my mom, like she loves to be in a different direction as everybody else. My parents are very anti status quo, like, no, you're not doing the things the way everyone else is doing. That's why they kind of like, they just, that's not why they decided to make a lot of the decisions that they made, is more because that's what they believed in. But my mom does have quite the, desire to go in a different direction as everybody else, and kind of, if everyone's doing one thing, she wants to do the other thing. So I can see where I get that from. Like, we definitely are a family of people who are not normal. So that was a cool realization that I had. So those were my 3 goals. I think, let me just double check. I think I might have had, yeah. So, and just, yeah, I've just been given so much clarity around, my own relationship and my, what I want in the future, and I'm noticing, or I learned really what it means to be qualified for marriage, and I learned that I am not qualified. And I'm 22. I'm really not supposed to be at this age. I'm not ready for that kind of. I'm not ready for that in general, of course, but there are just things that I need to prepare myself, and I just need to, and now I know what I need to work on and what's next for me, and then in order to be ready for like a long-term commitment out of a relationship. So that's something huge that I got out of the weekend, definitely. But yeah, just overall, like I got all my goals answered, and I just feel so clear, so full of love and happiness right now after being there, and freaking exhausted. Like I felt hungover after the weekend, and no, there were definitely no drugs or alcohol at this thing. It was only water and coffee. But I was literally like, I felt, and me and a few other people, like lots of other people felt honestly hungover, emotionally, physically, everything hungover from the weekend, because it was so taxing, just emotionally taxing, and just it like takes you to a new level of being. I felt like it was just next level. I never have experienced something like this before being at this event. So thank you for listening to this episode, and for bearing with me as I try to almost just get this information to you while also trying to keep the confidentiality. It was quite difficult, honestly. I wish I could tell you so much more, but I also need to, respect that everybody's going to experience this differently. And I hope that, everyone will just take my word for it, that this is something that everyone should do. Everybody. And also, something that I wondered about this weekend also is that, when it talks about the differences between men and women, and how I always wondered if that would be like, if it would be like men and women in relationships, and what if you are not a heterosexual couple, like what if so I always wondered, if I was to date a woman later in life, like would this stuff even apply to me? And and I've asked my mom this before, and she said yes, it definitely, like there are, both my mom and dad know people who are gay who've done the weekend and still apply the things to their relationships, and it still does all the same. It doesn't have, like, it's in a different way, of course. You have to take the information, but so I found that when I was there, I could understand, because now I have a better understanding of men and women. So whether I end up with a man or a woman, because I don't know I guess not everyone knows, I am bisexual, so I have a boyfriend, but like in the future, if I was to date a woman, like I know now I still have so much more skills, because now I totally understand women better too, and I understand men better as well. So through that, like I know that whatever happens, I think that this works for that. So sometimes it feels like, I felt beforehand that maybe this would only work if I was to marry a man, but no, I don't find that to be the case. I think that this is literally people skills. Like, this is how you work with anybody, and this is how you have successful relationships with anyone. And yeah, I really think that everyone needs this, and it also puts you into this community of people who are really powerful people. Powerful the way I said it before, like powerful, who are just living their purpose, doing their, are good people, generous people. And I've been so thankful to be a part of a community like this my entire life, because my parents are these people. They're sterling people. That's what we call them. There's actually a term. It's like you're, a sterling man or a sterling woman. It's literally like somebody who's done the women's weekend or the men's weekend, because it's like they become a different type of person. It completely changes you in the best way. And I just could not recommend this course more. It's not very expensive. Like, I literally would have paid double, triple, or, quadruple for this course. It was honestly like so cheap for what I got from it. And I'm doing another personal development course that's like literally like 3 or 4 times the amount of this, and I know that one will be worth it as well. And it's totally different, but it's like, the amount that Justin charges for this is nothing for what you get. and I could not recommend it more. So if you trust me and you want more information, I'd say get your ass to this event, because it's not going to be going on forever. From I'm not sure. I don't know. So yeah, let me know if you need more information about it. But thank you so much for listening, and I can't wait to give you another episode next week. We'll see what it's about. I'm not too sure. We'll see. All right, I love you all. Goodbye.